This is gap defense, one of the most important and most misunderstood concepts in basketball. Too often, players treat off-ball defense like a rest period. But the best defenders, they live in this space. Gap positioning crowds the ball, takes away driving lanes, and puts you in position to make plays. From stunts, steals, blocks, and even charges, when you watch the best defenders, guys like Alex Caruso and Draymond Green, they're constantly turning the gap into game-changing stops. Today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about playing in the gap and how you can turn your off-ball defense into your greatest defensive weapon. Let's dive in.
Oh man, what a defensive play. Tremendous defense. Wow.
Let's start with what exactly is gap defense. When you're guarding a player one pass away from the ball, your job isn't to hug your man, and it's not to completely ignore them either. It's to split the difference, positioning yourself between your matchup and the ball. That space you're taking up is called the gap. Different teams teach the exact positioning slightly different. Some teams sag deep in the gap like pack line teams. Others deny hard and disrupt passing lanes. But most are in between, about a step and a half off the line of the ball. To make it even more complicated, there are even different stances you can use in the gap. But to be 100% honest, the exact stance you use isn't as important as the purpose you serve in it, making the ball handler think twice about driving into your gap and staying ready to make a play. The first of which is called stunting. A stunt is a hard fake at the ball, almost like you're going to go for a steal. That should force the ball handler into some hesitation. But not all stunts are created equal. You need to take into account who you're guarding and who has the ball. First is the stunt and stay. If your man's a non-shooter and a non-scoring threat, you can linger in the gap longer and really crowd and sell out to stopping the ball, or even sell out to stopping a shooter. But if your man is a threat, then you should use a stunt and recover. This is a hard bluff at the ball and then immediately start your recovery back to your man. You certainly don't want to get sucked to the ball when your man is a lights out shooter. And if you are in between these two situations, then you must rely on the stunt and reposition. Bluffing at the ball, then sliding right back into a new gap positioning, ready to read the offense and make a play from there. This is just the first layer of turning the gap into a weapon. You're not just standing there, you're actively shrinking space, dictating what the offense sees, and setting yourself up to make a play. Because it's not just about taking away space, it's also about making plays within it. The first is what I call the stunt steal. You sell the stunt at the ball, like you're selling out to stop the drive, but instead you immediately start your recovery into the passing lane. Players like Alex Caruso and Tony Allen have made careers on this. Stunt at the ball with an inside hand, then reach with the outside hand into that passing lane, picking off a pass before the offense even knows what hit them. Then you've got the gap punch, the most aggressive version. The ball handler drives into your space and you lunge straight through the ball like a safety in football forcing a fumble. Risky, but if you time it right, it's a momentum changing steal. And if you know the ball handler is a driver and not a pass first player, it's an even smarter move. And finally, we've got one of the most common steals in today's NBA, the blindside steal. As the ball moves away from your gap, that space widens. A smart defender keeps moving with the ball, repositioning himself or herself in the perfect spot to steal any counters or spins. And of course, if the ball has completely lost sight of you, well, now it's time to sneak behind and make a play on the ball, which is why we call it the blindside steal. You can see in this play, the offensive player is driving middle and has completely lost vision of the player behind him. This is time to shrink the space and go for a blindside steal. Which is why the best defenders are hunting in the gap, turning possessions into turnovers. And steals aren't the only thing they're hunting. Great defenders use this space to impact the game in all kinds of ways. One is the gap block, rotating almost like a blindside steal but with a block at the rim. These can surprise even the smartest offensive players, as they expect most blocks to come from the help side defender, not the guy completely behind the play. You can see in this play, Brunson puts his head down and has full intentions of getting to the rim. This is when Alex Caruso comes from the blind side. He's in the gap to begin with, but as he sees Brunson put his head down to drive hard with his right hand, Caruso follows behind, pursues him, and comes up with the gap block. But that's not the only thing you can do. You can also take a charge from the gap. This isn't my favorite technique, as it requires you to completely sell out to the ball and leave your man. But if a driver is barreling out of control, sliding over into position turns their aggressiveness into a turnover. And even if they do pass the ball, stay there, commit to the charge, and if you lined it up correctly, you can still make the play. The last weapon is digging at the post. No need to let the post player get comfortable either, especially if you're one pass away. Quick stunts at the dribble or even steals altogether. The big will probably be the least capable player to go from dribble to pass in the game. Just make sure you time it right and don't get overly greedy and give up a kick out three trying to get a second chance at the ball. But let's also not forget, all of this wouldn't be possible without one of the oldest fundamentals in defense, what many coaches call jumping to the ball. And what they mean when they say this is that as soon as your man makes a pass, you have to shift immediately into your gap. That little split second of urgency can take away driving lanes, a quick curl off a screen, or even allow you to pick off the ball altogether. You can even use it on baseline out of bounds situations. You can see someone is coming off a curl that has a path to the basket, but the gap inbounder moves immediately into that driving lane, clogging the path to the basket and forcing the offense to stall out. All of these plays are reminders. Being in the gap isn't a passive position. It's an active one with constant opportunities to disrupt the offense. Because gap defense also connects directly into rotations. Being one pass away often means you're the first line of help when the offense runs its primary actions. Think about a pick and roll. The ball handler comes off, the big rolls hard, who's responsible? A lot of time, especially in short roll situation, it's the gap defender. You're the one who has to get to that roller, just enough to slow him down, or maybe you can even go over there and make a big play. Other times, it's about reading mismatches. If your teammates are about to get blown by,
Pascal Siakam is winning that matchup 8 times out of 10.
Because they're a weaker defender against an offensive threat, you should be on high alert already, no matter your positioning. This is something Draymond Green has made a career doing. Let's watch another example of Draymond Green. There's a clear path to the basket, and in most defenses, the opposite low man is the one responsible for coming over to help. But Draymond Green is already on his way, from the weak side gap all the way to protecting the basket. It doesn't matter who to Draymond Green, it matters that we didn't give up anything easy. And if you want to watch that full Draymond Green breakdown video, check out the link at the end of this video. But this is why the gap is such a crucial role, especially in today's space and pace game. You're not just splitting the difference between your man and the ball, you're the one to make a play, crowd the ball, pick off a pass, or come up with a huge block. And if you're serious about taking your defense to the next level, it's time to join the Lockdown Academy with over 100 hours of videos and breakdowns just like this one, plus workouts, drills, and more. Sign up today with the link in the description below. And remember, there are no plays off on defense, just plays to be made. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'm Coach Mike with Lockdown Defense. Keep up the hard work.